Hi, good evening. Let's start. So this week we are talking about AI and global economic inequalities. This is week 4 in ECO 700. Thank you to Professor Eduardo Haynes for giving me the opportunity to work on this. Um, it's the first slide. Okay. So Khan et al. Versus Korenik and Stiglitz, how they see AI and its impact on global inequality. That's what we're talking about. So Khan et al. Talks about mitigating, Korenik talks about exacerbating impact. Let's see what Khan et al. Says. Khan et al. Says AI can mitigate if the foundations are ethical and the global consensus on cooperation is maintained. AI in public sector can leapfrog affordability and accessibility to basic human needs like food, water, health, shelter, and financial stability, and ensure equitable distribution of resources. AI should be focused on solving domestic, micro, and meso issues like research, innovation in healthcare, and energy generation. High emphasis on distributive justice and moral code to include low income countries in AI accessibility. So that's what they lay high emphasis on, distributive justice. Kornick and Stiglitz, they say that the present under-regulated market forces and global rules-based order would likely exacerbate global income inequalities. Low income countries would lose competitive advantage over cheap labor. Cheap capital advantage paired with AI will likely lead to rent extraction by developed countries. AI will disrupt macroeconomics, global trade, labor rights, and rent extraction over AI intellectual property. Their paper focuses on superstar dynamics leading to wealth concentration in high income countries, and even within those high income countries, the big companies like Meta and Google. Let's see some examples from that. The examples then Kahan et al. Gave for mitigation effect. Leapfrogging in sectors like education and healthcare. Most companies and sectors in the sector in general have chronic shortage of skilled manpower, teachers, doctors, and technicians. Per Khan et al., AI can leapfrog not only research and also execution of adaptive learning and patient diagnostics by training humans as complementary human resource to AI adaptive technological solutions. So AI can be used as a complementary technology so that they don't substitute labor and make people jobless. This would manifold increase access to healthcare and education for historically marginalized sections of the population with minimal investments of capital in their respective industries. Failure of institutions. Low-income countries are historically known for inefficient use and distribution of resources due to high levels of corruption and bureaucratic bottlenecks inherited from experience of colonial rule. AI systems in these countries can be used to effectively allocate quantity and the type of resources where they're needed the most. This will bypass most, if not all, administrative inefficiencies while simultaneously rooting out corruption, hence drastically improving end user delivery of resources, including the most vulnerable sections of the society. Korenick and Stiglitz, examples of exacerbation. Labor cost saving. For well-known part of history, developing nations have focused on leading manufacturing job and sector towards export growth, given the availability of abundant cheap labor. Thanks to growth of robotics technology that can bypass the high wage rate restrictions in manufacturing in the developed economies, low-income countries would lose the competitive advantage they have over export-led manufacturing activity, hence widening and exacerbating the gap in income inequalities between developed and developing economies. Superstar dynamic. AI advances in technologies would not only make low income countries lose their competitive advantage, but also would lead to rampant job loss among the middle class residents of the developed countries. Big firms like Google, Meta, and others based in US and China would extract rent over usage of intelligence and completely make a large section of labor skills obsolete, leading to severe increase in income inequalities within the rich, middle class, and the poor in the developed economies. So, what are the strategies and key recommendations for low income countries? One, they should invest in critical baseline infrastructure. Low income countries should make critical investments in last mile electricity, broadband connectivity that is affordable and accessible to the most vulnerable sections of the population. This infrastructure can then be used to leapfrog access to healthcare and education services to the masses. Implications: countries with moderately advanced infrastructure, Tier 1, can partner with private entities to complete remaining development of baseline infrastructure. Countries with weak or non existing infrastructure, Tier 2 countries, should focus heavily on open source available technologies to build digital literacy among the masses and invest in local generation of electricity to create foundations for internet access directly to satellite constellations like Starlink. Second recommendation, based on Koenig and Stiglitz, focus on building climate resilience in agriculture. Development can no longer be accelerated or achieved through manufacturing for the export sector. Focus should shift from city-led manufacturing to local innovation and marketing of local goods and services domestically to create a bottom-up approach that is insulated from AI advances in technology. Implications: small-scale farming, shifting focus away from growing crops for the export market. Low-income countries should leverage AI advances in processing of drone imagery and weather prediction to increase yield of small-scale farmers and encourage growth of diversified cropping that improves and ensures domestic food security at the local level. Core construction activities: the available abundant labor resources available in low-income economies should be diverted towards economic activities that cannot be easily replaced by technologies like road, hospitals, schools, and office space construction, and critical infrastructure like water and electricity. And these are the references. And thank you. That's it. That covers the topic for this week. Thank you and best of luck for all my peer students, all my fellow students, and my professor. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you next week. Bye.